Whispers in the hallway. The fluorescent lights of Jefferson High felt nothing like the warm glow of her grandmother's kitchen in Kiev. 16-year-old Katerina Sokolova pressed her back against the cold metal locker, clutching her books like a shield as laughter echoed down the hallway. 3 months ago, she had been studying for her literature exam. 3 months ago, the sirens began. Now, she stood in a country where every word felt like a stumble, where her accent marked her as different, as foreign, as other. Hey, speak English. Madison Cooper's voice cut through the corridor like shattered glass. Her friends giggled, forming a semicircle around Katerina. Or are you too busy thinking about your potato farm? Katerina's cheeks burned. She wanted to tell them that her father was a software engineer, that her mother taught classical piano, that she herself had placed second in Ukraine's national youth poetry competition. But the English words tangled in her throat, coming out broken and hesitant. I am going to class, she managed, her accent thick with emotion. I am going to class, Madison mimicked, exaggerating every syllable. The hallway erupted in laughter. 3 months earlier, the missile strike had come at dawn. Katerina remembered her mother's hands shaking as she packed a single suitcase, remembered her father's jaw clenched tight as he drove them to the Polish border. She remembered leaving her grandmother behind, promising to return soon, not knowing if soon would ever come. The refugee processing center in Warsaw was a blur of paperwork and tears. Then came the flight to America, sponsored by a distant cousin in Pennsylvania. Her parents, who had been professionals with degrees and respect, now worked double shifts. Her father at a warehouse, her mother cleaning houses. They told Katerina to focus on school, to build a new life, to be grateful. But gratitude felt like swallowing stones when you didn't belong anywhere. The breaking point. By November, Katerina had perfected the art of invisibility. She ate lunch in the library, kept her head down in class, and spoke only when forced to. The whispers followed her everywhere. In the cafeteria, the bathroom, even gym class where Madison would accidentally bump into her during volleyball. Go back to your country, someone had scrawled on her locker in permanent marker. That afternoon, she found her mother in their cramped apartment kitchen, hands red and raw from cleaning chemicals. Katerina broke. The tears came in great, heaving sobs. For her grandmother, for her lost life, for the girl she used to be. I want to go home, she whispered in Ukrainian. I cannot do this anymore. Her mother pulled her close, smelling of lemon cleaner and exhaustion. Dorogeya, she murmured. We are home. This is our home now. And you are stronger than you know. But Katerina didn't feel strong. She felt erased. The next day, she walked to the counselor's office to request withdrawal papers. She would get her GED, work, help her parents. Anything but this daily humiliation. Ms. Chun. Katerina, wait. Ms. Chun, the drama teacher, caught her in the hallway. She was young, barely 30, with kind eyes and persistent smile. I heard you singing in the stairwell last week, during lunch. Katerina's heart stopped. She had thought she was alone, had let herself sing a Ukrainian folk song her grandmother taught her, a small rebellion, a moment of being herself. I wasn't. I'm sorry. I don't apologize. Ms. Chen's voice was firm. You have a gift, a real gift. Our winter showcase is in 3 weeks. I want you to audition. No, Katerina said immediately. No, I cannot. They will laugh. Maybe, Ms. Chen acknowledged, or maybe they'll finally see you. The audition. Katerina almost didn't go. She stood outside the auditorium for 10 minutes, ready to run. But then she thought of her grandmother singing while making vareniki, of her mother's raw hands, of her father loading trucks at 5 a.m. They hadn't survived a war, so she could stay invisible. She walked inside. The stage was empty except for Ms. Chan and the student director. Katerina's hands trembled as she handed over her song choice. 1944, by Jamala, Ukraine's Eurovision winner. A song about deportation, loss, and survival. A song that felt like her bones. She opened her mouth, and her grandmother's voice poured out. Every note carried the weight of sirens and suitcases, of goodbyes and grief. Her accent didn't disappear. It became her power. Each rolled R and soft consonant a declaration of who she was and where she came from. When the final note faded, the auditorium was silent. Then Ms. Chun stood, tears streaming down her face. You're our opening act. The performance. The night of the winter showcase. The auditorium was packed. Katerina stood backstage, heart hammering, as Ms. Chin introduced her with a brief explanation of her journey. The lights dimmed. Katerina walked into the spotlight. She saw Madison in the third row, smirking, and then she sang. She sang for every refugee who felt erased. She sang for her grandmother's kitchen and her mother's hands. She sang her truth in a voice that needed no translation. The melody wrapped around the audience like a spell, raw, haunting, undeniable. By the second verse, Madison's smirk had vanished. By the final chorus, people were crying. The standing ovation lasted 3 minutes. Students who had laughed at her accent now stood, applauding the girl who had transformed her pain into something transcendent. Madison sat frozen, finally understanding what she'd been too cruel to see. Strength comes in many languages. After the show, classmates swarmed Katerina. That was incredible. Where can I hear more? Can you teach me some Ukrainian? Madison approached last, eyes downcast. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. Katerina looked at the girl who had made her life hell. She thought about forgiveness, about cruelty born from ignorance, about the long road ahead. Thank you, she said simply, her accent as present as ever. But I did not do this for you. I did this for me. That night, Katerina video called her grandmother in Kiev. Babushka, she said, smiling through tears. I sang your song, and they listened. Her grandmother's weathered face filled the screen, eyes bright with pride. Katarinko, they will always listen. You just had to remember your voice. In the background, sirens wailed. But for the first time in months, Katerina felt like she could breathe. She was still a refugee. She was still an ocean away from home. But she was also undeniably, powerfully herself. And no one could take that away.